Welcome everyone. My name is Lauren Wild and I run a pretty renegade counseling practice on the wild prairies. And today I'm giving you a presentation about the 5 dynamics of dating. It's part of a fuller program that I offer, which I can talk about any other time. So when you think about dating, what are your first feelings or thoughts that's coming to mind? Has there been a date that was perhaps very special in some way? And what has been maybe confusing or frustrating or disappointing in the dating world for you? Chances are you've been on some loopy rides with relationships and especially with dating, so you're in good company here. Everyone desires quality dates as often as possible, and so in this program we're really looking at how to design a rendezvous for romance, or how to really approach romantic intimacy so that you can become a perpetual student of romance. So if you're in the mature couple category, it's important to learn or to foster your date life because you need to maintain a lifelong story of intimacy. And there will be, of course, many milestones along the way. And for those of you who are in what we call the limerence phase in early dating periods, and maybe you identify still as single and available, your dates are generally going to start more awkward and they progress as you anticipate a future together. So think about this. A wedding is actually a huge date to design, right? So it begins here. A great date needs to be predictable enough to feel safe and risky enough to feel fun. So I'm not sure if you're into jumping out of planes on fire or not. I'm not sure if this couple really should be doing it either, but if you don't have a balance of risk and safety, it's either going to feel overwhelming when you date or completely boring. So luckily there's infinite combinations, and your new date designs just might become your favorite habits. Now, no matter how much experience you have, you're likely influenced by some, what I would maybe call cultural myths. And this slide is showing some of the distortions that have become kind of a folly or a demise with love and romance. So have you been expecting perhaps lightning and fireworks with your first kiss? Have you been giving up perhaps on love because you got this assumption that with perfect love you should be on a perpetual honeymoon? Or maybe you believe that, once the glass slipper drops, you have to just suck it up because after a certain age or stage, love is destined to just fizzle out. Another barrier to romance is settling for cheap thrills. Have you ever faked something or been duped by players? Maybe false profiles, faking drunk, faking hungry or full. Some falsely advertise age or interest, status, or fashion preferences. Some of us pretend to be happy when we're actually bored, or some of us pretend to be tired when we're actually quite happy and we just want to go somewhere else. And there are many folks who actually fake orgasm. So maybe you have had the experience of bypassing that awkward getting to know you part and just jumped into sexual gratification. Sexual bypassing is the biggest saboteur of romantic dating. And I just want you to know I made that term up. I hope it catches on. Everyone does sexual bypassing at some point in their life, even while married. Take that in. Even married people bypass true intimate connection just to get off. It isn't authentic or honest, and the result is some form of cheap disrespect or shame. That's shame for yourself or shame for your intimate or date partner. So maybe on a piece of paper somewhere you want to pause the video here and take an account of maybe what kinds of fakery you might have played in your life and need some forgiveness, and maybe the ones that you have suspected are being played with you. So once you have that down, I want you to, ritualize that. You can burn it, throw it in the garbage, or rip it up and take a vow. Let's exterminate fraudulent intimacy. Okay? Do we have a deal? Moving on. I want your romantic potential to be met. So, here are the 5 dynamics we're going to cover today. Once you become aware of these elements, your confidence is going to rock. You're going to understand the play that's going on in there, the nature of dating so much better, because there is so much to appreciate about authentic and quality dates. The first dynamic involves the power of survival instincts. The chemistry involved in sexual attraction is more potent than any drug on the planet. It's universally addictive, even for ladybugs. And it is comprised of a cocktail. It's got dopamine, adrenaline, oxytocin, vasopressin, and a special little thing called phenylethylamine. This concoction is the reason that our judgment evaporates when we're in hyper-attraction, and we will ignore red flags even when our friends or therapists are shouting them at us. Attraction triggers cause all kinds of trouble, from unplanned pregnancy and infidelity to crash and burn, heartbreak, and divorce. Troublesome attraction gets so literally hot that it can rob you of sleep and make it hard for you to eat. It even hijacks your thoughts. You just can't think of anything else. You just crave and long for that person's body. It even changes your voice, actually. One of the indicators that you have been caught in the chemistry spell is that your laugh will be giddy instead of genuine. If you're around teenagers very often, you will be able to pick out that giddy laughter right away. Now, this phenomena is something we crave forever. And so even though it might be a little off-putting to hear that laugh, it's actually we get sort of jealous and we long for that kind of excitement ourselves, right? And while we have to be cautious on those first dates when this is happening, married couples actually need to stoke those flames of attraction from time to time. So, getting in touch with this chemical part of love is really worthwhile. The worst part of chemistry is that it wilts and fades over time. It has cycles, and then we tend to get those terrible feelings of rejection, boredom, or heartbreak, and then actually end up going through also physical withdrawal symptoms that feel a little bit like depression or restless irritation. It's a lot like what a drug addict would go through in rehab. Yikes. So to avoid all the hubbub, you need to understand the alchemy of authentic attraction. And it's all about emotional intimacy. So, we have to have an unpopular conversation about postponing or delaying sexual gratification. Without a different kind of sex education and orientation, many of us do grow up in absolute sex shame or rampant sexual liberty. Sex without an emotional commitment usually violates codes of trust and respect. Fake sex generally dampens the intimacy of the heart. Abstinence is the best way to test the validity and the reliability of your attraction. You're going to probably resist the concept of temporary or periodic abstinence right now, today, but with careful reflection, I have seen many folks embrace this idea. The second dynamic for you to understand is paradox and polarity. Polarization is happening when a relationship becomes imbalanced or controlling. When we duel about right and wrong, win or lose, either or kinds of paradigms, we're taking sides when actually what we want is to be on the same team, and it doesn't feel good, right? So let's look at paradoxical thinking as a contrast. A paradox defines the space between a polarity, that full spectrum space, where we can have both and in operation. Paradoxical thinking helps us to find that sweet zone where we experience enough. With love and commitment, we want enough sense of home to feel cared for, and enough erotic play to feel passion and liveliness. These are not competing dualities. They're meant to be in unity. So when we date for love, we're actually mapping our intimacy as a code or as a key or a portal in both the domestic realm and also in romantic sexuality. True love is a dancing paradox of uniting opposite elements. Whenever you find yourself feeling like you're in a tizzy, the chances are that your couple culture needs an adjustment. If you reflect for a moment, could you identify one polarity in your relationships that has become a battle instead of a tango? And if you're not familiar with my intimacy skills, I hope you will get in touch with me so I can share those with you as well. So this masterclass is going to get really fun now. Our third dating dynamic is to discuss compatibility. We've all been fed the myth that we have a certain type. However, typecast items like fashion, age, or body parts are most often hot attraction triggers and very temporary. When you are with someone who is compatible on both domestic and erotic dimensions, it feels like more of a sizzle than a scorch. But you also become more yourself around them. And so compatibility is really worth exploring. Now, I conduct a full course that's called Maps to Intimacy, and in there I help you tune up your compatibility culture. It's called the Compatibility Compass. That's just one small portion of that full course. So you can direct message me with your contact information, and I'll arrange a time to tell you all about it. Compatibility is how couples accomplish those big and hard things, like their life's dream. But if you have incompatible values, you might have a deal breaker on your hands. For today, I am giving you a link to a compatibility quiz that I endorse. Not financially or anything, but I like it. So please go there to tweak your initial journey if you haven't already done some compatibility work. And before you go there, I want to soothe some of your hesitations. If you're having thoughts like, how will I ever let go of my type? Or I want that perfect look, age, or status. Or what if I'm not compatible with the person I'm with, right? So please remember this. You are free. You're free to do love the same way you've always been doing it. And you're free to explore new knowledge. Knowledge is power. So whatever you do with the knowledge you get on a compatibility quiz or in this course is entirely your own choice. Voila, dynamic number 4. Let's wade into some charming F words. And by that I mean flirting and foreplay. Does your mind or body feel different just hearing those words? Indeed, we all have a predisposed reaction to any mention of sexuality. Our past heartbreak, abuse, and shame can set up automatic protection instincts. Yet, we also want these elements in our couple culture, right? So it's a bit paradoxical. We can't address all the schemas around our trauma, rejection, and shame today because that work is more in the realm of private counseling or deeper coaching work. So we're going to dip our toes in today, okay? Do we have consent now to talk about it and to allow some of that ambiguity and incompleteness to be here today? I hope so. If not, stop the recording. If you're ready to go on, let's move on. The charm of flirtation is actually in its innocence. Babies and children flirt when they play. We can flirt with ideas and creativity almost anywhere. In sports, in cooking, in art, in music, anywhere, in ideas. Flirting means, it's light, it's fun, right? It might feel sexy when you flirt with your lover, but it does not assume sexual intensity at all. So, where has your playful side perhaps been hidden or wilting? Maybe today is the day you'll make a small step to reclaim ingenue and find some delight and charm in flirting a little more often. Flirtologists practice the behaviors I've listed on this slide. They smile, they give compliments, they tell jokes, they tell lighthearted stories, they play silly games, and they assume the best in people. They ask for help for simple things, and they give lots and plenty of jolly appreciation. So from this list, what could be your first flirt bid? And who could it be for? someone you know, or a stranger. Just saying. Now then, foreplay. I might be blushing already. Foreplay anticipates sexual activity within the boundaries of consent. However, it is still playful and intended for pleasure. Foreplay invitations are those red flame items such as, "My, oh my, your curves are giving me some wild ideas." Or, "What is that scent you're wearing? Is it coming with a kiss me here invitation?" Or, "Dinner? Is seduction on the menu?" LOL. I hope that some of my examples are stirring up some ideas for you, or at least some giggles, because I am totally blushing right now. And since I'm trying to keep you smiling, I want to encourage you to claim your own wit. Humor is a potent social attractant, and it's also a great way to deflect awkwardness. It reveals intelligence and guides compatibility. Folks who laugh together can make a life together, and that life can have moments of lightness. Adults who are friendly, jovial, and playful can also be misunderstood. Culturally, we're all supposed to be sober and serious, right? So what if there's a misinterpretation or a misunderstanding? Well, that's a great question. It definitely doesn't mean you should quit or give up on fun. I recommend chaperones like friends and bodyguards on your first dates, and you also need a little kit of appropriate letdowns to gently de-escalate a flirt bid that might morph into some kind of mating display. So this is what it sounds like. "Oops, I think we might have mixed up signals." Or, "Oops, I think we just have a misunderstanding here. I was just trying to have a little bit of innocent fun." Okay? Hope that helps. Some romantic activities are actually gray zones and a little bit confusing. So you might, in this category, we might have cooking together. Cooking together by candlelight brings out romantic flirtation, right? But if it includes sex more often than not, it probably means it's foreplay. A scented bubble bath for two? Instantly, easily foreplay. Slow dancing? Little bit vague. If it starts on to heavy breathing and private part petting, foreplay, right? An interpretive chicken dance, flirt-a-doodle-doo, right? So before you set up your next date, please be clear about what your boundaries are with foreplay. And I also love to hear your gray zones, so that's worthwhile asking me about. Okay, those are quality questions. So I have a strong stance on the culture of dating. If your dream come true is a forever love story and you agree to casual hookups, you are being incongruent, and your body language will confuse your compatibility codes. So I've created a clear path for folks who want to date for epic love and legendary commitment. Please pause the video on this slide if you need more time to read through. And please reach out to me if you want my support to set you up for the 5 stages of dating. My contact information is coming shortly. And for committed participants, I love to help you grow your culture of intimacy too. I hope this slide also inspires you and your single friends. These dates are definitely worth working towards. So to expand your options for a romantic rendezvous, here are 8 dates that all couples need to master and include in their dating repertoire. I list them here and I explain them, in subsequent slides, but you would have to enroll one of my programs to get all the details. So we're going to scroll through fairly quickly here to get to the final slide. Alrighty, it's time to say farewell and to tell you how to get more of my work. Maybe you are ready to design your next date. I hope so. And I would love to invite you to work more with me. I could be your intimacy coach or a counselor for you. I don't have a magic wand like a fairy godmother. Some people think I do. It's more like boots. But I'll help you practice these dynamics and more. I can help you map your way to emotional intimacy so you can have a forever culture of romance. So all you have to do is click on the link that comes in the next slide, and you will get an invitation from me to apply. So the link for you to apply for one of my programs is in yellow at the bottom of this slide. You just click that and you would be taken to my website where you can, read through a few things, but you can also send me contact details there. And this slide is showing you what happens in the Maps to Intimacy program. You get 3 months of quality time with me. It involves one-to-one coaching, any group sessions. You get the compatibility compass, and you get the modules about intimacy skills. You get a wealth of resources, which is like a growing lists and lists of things that I've been collecting. And recently I've also started to offer chaperone services for people who feel unsafe when they go on dates. And also, I've started a new modality that I call body whispering. And these are kind of nonverbal connection exercises. They're fully clothed, in case you're wondering. And they help couples with, those invisible emotional gestures, or that invisible part of their communication. So I hope this will help you today. Pretty please. Send me replies. Send me replies. Wherever you find out about this masterclass, I'd love to hear from you there. I'd love to hear how this presentation went for you. You can send me an email if you like. And, maybe on the Facebook thing or the Instagram thing, you can let me know what your new date habits are, or what your favorite date habits might be. So, so this is Loran Wild. I'm really glad that I got to meet you here today, and look forward to whatever comes next. I wish you Meliora, which is my magic word. It's a Greek word. It means ever better. So I'm wishing you ever better love and an ever better life. Bye for now.